You know that feeling. When someone you care about just stops replying, and suddenly your whole day changes. Your phone becomes your enemy. You check it every 2 seconds, and you still don't understand why. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening inside your brain right now. And trust me, it's way more complicated than you think. Okay, so let me tell you something that happened to me about 2 years ago. And I think if you're watching this, it probably happened to you too. There was this person in my life, not super close, but close enough that I cared, like when they texted me, I'd actually look forward to it. We'd have these conversations that felt different from other conversations. They were just easy, natural, like we understood each other without saying everything out loud. And then one day it stopped, not dramatically, not like they said, I don't want to talk to you anymore. It was quieter than that. A message from them that took hours to come, then longer. Then they'd read my messages but wouldn't reply. And I remember the exact moment I realized something was different. I was sitting at my desk and I just kept checking my phone over and over. Like if I checked enough times, maybe they'd suddenly respond. And that's when it got weird, because I wasn't just waiting for a message anymore. I was overthinking everything. Every conversation we ever had, every word they said. Was I annoying them? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something? And the worst part, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was like my brain got stuck in a loop. A really painful loop. I'd be at work trying to focus, and suddenly I'm thinking about that one thing I said last week. Was it funny enough? Was it too much? And then my chest would get tight. Actually tight. Like physically tight, because my body was responding to this story I was creating in my head. Here's the thing that nobody tells you though. When someone ignores you, you don't just feel sad, you feel rejected. And rejection is one of the most painful things our brains can experience. It's not about missing them. It's about your brain telling you that you're not enough, that you're not worthy of their attention, that you did something wrong. And your mind, your beautiful creative mind, starts working overtime to solve the puzzle, because that's what brains do. They try to make sense of things. So it creates stories, bad stories, stories where you're the problem. I remember one night I was lying in bed and I had this thought, what if they never respond again? And I physically felt my heart drop. Like my actual body responded to this scenario that I made up in my head. That's how real it felt to my nervous system. And the cycle kept going. Check phone, no message, feel rejected, overthink, create story, feel worse, check phone again. It was exhausting. And the worst part, the more I cared, the worse it got. Because the truth is, when we care about someone, we make them important to us. We give them power, and when they ignore us, we feel powerless. We feel like we can't control the situation. And humans hate not having control. So what do? We try to control the only thing we can, which is ourselves. We replay conversations. We analyze texts. We convince ourselves that if we just understand what went wrong, we can fix it. We can make them care again. We can get back to normal. But you know what I realized after weeks of this? The person who was actually ignoring me wasn't the problem. I was ignoring myself. I was so focused on their silence that I completely lost myself. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't sleeping. I was canceling plans with friends. I was putting my entire life on pause, waiting for someone else to decide they wanted to talk to me. And that's when something shifted. I was sitting in my car one day, checking my phone for the 1,000th time, and I just stopped and I asked myself, why am I doing this? Why am I letting one person's silence control my entire emotional state? And I didn't have a good answer. That's the moment everything changed for me. What's actually happening in your brain when this is going on? First, there's something called attachment. It's not a bad thing. It's natural. When we connect with someone, our brain literally starts rewiring itself. Spending time with them releases dopamine. That's the chemical that makes us feel good. It's like when you're with them, your brain is getting a reward. So when that reward suddenly stops, your brain goes into withdrawal. It's literally like an addiction. And yeah, I know that sounds extreme, but it's true. Your brain is literally craving that dopamine hit. Then comes the overthinking part. When something doesn't make sense to us, our brain gets uncomfortable. It's designed to solve problems. So when someone ignores you, your brain is literally trying to solve the mystery. Why did they ignore me? What did I do? And because you don't have the real answer, your brain makes one up, usually a bad one. This is called rumination. You keep going over and over the same thoughts, the same conversations, the same moments. And every time you do, you feel a little worse because your brain is reinforcing that sad feeling. You're literally training your brain to feel bad. And then there's emotional dependency. This is the real one. When we care too much about what one person thinks about us, we lose ourselves. We give them too much power. Their silence becomes your problem to solve. Their mood becomes your responsibility. And that's not healthy. The thing is, our brains are wired for connection. That's not bad. That's actually beautiful. But when we connect without boundaries, when we make one person more important than ourselves, that's when pain happens. Here's what I want you to understand. Someone ignoring you says absolutely nothing about your worth. Let me say that again. It says nothing about you. Nothing. People ignore each other for 1,000 different reasons. They're busy. They're dealing with their own stuff. They lost their phone. They're going through something and don't have the energy to talk. They're confused about their own feelings. Maybe they're an asshole. Maybe they just don't know how to communicate, but none of those things are about you. The real wisdom here is this. Your peace of mind should never depend on whether someone else decides to text you back. I know that sounds cold, but it's not. It's actually the most loving thing you can do for yourself. Because the moment you stop needing their attention to feel okay, you actually become more attractive to them anyway. You become more interesting. You have your own life. You're not waiting around desperately. But more importantly, you stop suffering. The suffering isn't from their silence. It's from your overthinking. It's from the story you're telling yourself about what their silence means. It's from making their choice more important than your own mental peace. So here's what I learned, and what I want you to learn too. When someone ignores you, let them. Don't chase. Don't analyze. Don't create stories. Just let them. Not because you don't care, but because you care about yourself more. And that's where real peace comes from.